Okay, this is the 7th grade academic inequalities quiz that we took on last Friday. This is going to be the key. Please use this to study for your test on Wednesday. The key thing for all my quizzes and tests is to show your work. Now I will explain what I mean by show your work as I go through the quiz. Number 1 says, an internet social media site charges $20 per month plus 15 cents per post. Mary does not want to spend more than $50 per month. Which number line represents the number of posts Mary can make each month? So I'm going to go back and circle and underline the pertinent information. So that's per month plus 15 cents per post. And they do not want to spend more than $50. So if I would write an inequality, I would say 20 per month plus 15 cents per post is less than or equal to 50. I could spend less than 50, I just can't spend more than 50. Right? So my first thing I'm going to do is subtract 20 from each side. And I get 15x is less than or equal to 50. I don't really need to go any further than I have. I have an inequality that says that it's less than or equal to. I know that every answer is at least 200 on either way. And so I'm looking for the one that says less than or equal to 200. If I divide this out, I keep my x the way it is. I keep my less than and equal to the way it is. And I know my answer is going to be 200. So I'm looking for the answer for C. That's how I show my work. Number 2, it says which solution is not a solution of the inequality. 5 minus 2x is greater than or equal to negative 3. If I just go ahead and solve the inequality, then I might be able to tell what my answer is from this information. So if I subtract 5 from both sides, I get a negative 2x is greater than or equal to negative 8. Here's the trick. I'm about to divide by negative 2 on both sides. When I do, my inequality changes from a greater than to a less than. So my x is going to be less than or equal to, and negative 8 divided by negative 2 is 4. So x is less than or equal to 4. So A is true, B is true, C is definitely equal, so it's true, so D is the one that's not true to that statement. Number 3, it says the theater club is selling tickets for the school play. They need to earn at least $500 in ticket sales to cover the cost of the production. The table shows the results of their lunchtime sales. Right, if you look at the answers, some of them say less than, some say greater than. Depends on which way you read it from. Okay, well, I know that my x's are all on the right side. Okay, so I'm going to read A as x is greater than or equal to the 500. And on B, it's x is less than or equal to the 500. And so as I go to solve this, I need to learn at least $500. What does that look like, though? At least $500. Can it be greater than 500? Yes. But as I set up my equation, I know that 75 tickets sold and the cost, so those are going to be multiplied together. And then at the door, tickets and costs are going to be multiplied together. So I come up with an inequality that says 4 times 75 plus 4 times x is greater than or equal to 500. If I look back at A, that says from right to left that it is greater than. B does not, though. This says less than. This says less than if you're reading from right to left. So D and A are the only ones that say that. And the way I set it up, I had number of tickets sold times 75, so that gives me a check there. And this does not have that, so A is not the answer. So I'm going to go with D. Alright, so this is just solving inequalities. Alright, the first thing we have to do is detach this multiplication that's right in here. There's a multiplication that's right in there. I have to detach that away from the parentheses, right? So how do I do that? I divide both sides by 12. And I get 5 is less than or equal to 5x minus 10. And then from here, I want to get rid of the addition and subtraction. So I'm going to add 10, the opposite of subtraction, to both sides. That gives me 15 is less than or equal to 5x. And the last step is to take the multiplication away. So I take multiplication away by the opposite of division, and I get an answer of 3 is less than or equal to x. But if I read it from the right to left, it actually says that x is greater than or equal to 3. So when I go to plot it, I'm going to get a solid line, and it's going to go greater than. If I want to turn this around, I can say x is greater than or equal to 3. I have to turn everything around if I move the x to the other side. And number 5, we talked about a different method on how to solve things, right? And so what I showed y'all in class today was to take the fraction here, right, this 1 over 2 fraction, right, and we're just going to multiply everything by 2. Okay, so we're going to multiply the 5 times 2, the n times 2, and the 8 times 2. And I get a new inequality of 10 plus n is greater than 16. Now I just subtract 10, the opposite of addition, subtract 10 from both sides, and that leaves me with n is greater than 6. So when I go to plot this, I have an open circle on the 6, and then a line to the right to signify greater than. Number 6, a lot of kids made the mistake of adding 3 to both sides because they saw this negative right here. And I think because they saw that negative there, they assumed that that 3 was negative. And that is not the case. That is a positive 3, and it's not attached to the variable, so we got to get rid of it first. So we end up with this going away and end up with a negative 2n is less than or equal to 10. And then we talked about this in class, about dividing by a negative. When I divide by a negative, it changes my inequality. So now I have n is greater than or equal to a negative 5. So when I go to plot this, I get a closed circle and a greater than or equal to. Number 7. Joanna's flying to Rochester with a suitcase. How many suitcases? 1. And that means addition in math, plus a 12-pound garment bag. right? She wants the total weight of her luggage to be no more than 50 pounds. No more than 50 pounds. 12 pounds. Okay. So now I have a suitcase plus a 12-pound garment bag is less than or equal to 50. Well, this is a very simple problem. We're just going to subtract 12 from both sides, and that leaves me with suitcase is less than or equal to 38. Number 8. Ron wants to rent a car. He is offered two payment options, right? We got payment A and payment B. And he wants payment A to be less expensive than payment B. So there's our inequality, right? Less expensive. Right? Well, what we have here is we have a daily cost, right, which is our constant. And we have a cost per mile, which is our coefficient. And so when we set up our equation, we're going to have the constant plus the 15 cents per mile, which is less than option B, which is the constant cost of 40 cents per mile. Now it's pretty obvious that our answer is going to be something 60. The trick is where does the x end up? So if you start with the 40x on the right and you bring it over to the 15x on the left, then eventually your inequality sign is going to go away. So I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides first. And I get 15 plus 0.15x is less than 0.40x. Because this went away. So now I got to get rid of the 0.15x. I subtract away the 0.15x, and that says that I have 15 now. So 15 left over is less than 0.25x. Right? Well, guess what? I have a less than sign, so I know my answer is going to be not C or D. The reason is because they're closed circles. So now I look at A and B. Well, I'm reading from right to left. So it actually says that 0.25x is greater than 15. I don't have a negative sign, so I'm not going to change my inequality. So I'm reading that x is greater than 60. So if I look at this, then that tells me that A has to be the answer, not B. A lot of kids struggled with this one. A lot of kids chose Mindy, right? Well, Mindy is not correct because if I put 64 in for P and I subtract 2 away, does that greater than 6? And 64 divided by 8 is 8 minus 2 greater than 6. And this gives me 6 is greater than 6, and that is not true. Alright, so I move up to 72, the next guy up, which is pretty obvious that it is the answer, but we're going to go ahead and prove it. 72 divided by 8 is 9, minus 2 is greater than 6, 7 is greater than 6. True. Definitely can't be these two guys. Number 10. You and your friend have a $12 to spend on a pizza. So I have an inequality getting created that I can't spend more than $12. A large pizza with cheese costs $8. So a total of $12 to spend, and $8 plus 40 cents for each additional topping, 0.40x. Right? So when I go to solve this, I subtract 8 from both sides first, and I get 0.40x is less than or equal to 4. Well, I know that 40 cents is 10% of $4, so I know that the x has to be less than or equal to 10, because I can't spend more, but I can spend up to $12, right? So, or I can just divide by 0.40, and when I do that, I get this. I have to move the decimal over twice, so I get 400, so 40 goes into 40 once, and then 10. So x is less than or equal to 10. Number 11 is new to us a little bit, but we definitely saw it in 6th grade, and we saw it in a couple of our homeworks. But the big deal is that it's equal to 180 degrees, the straight line. So this is the straight line that we're talking about. And I have a 5x, which is right here, angle A, right? Angle A, angle A. And then I have a 90-degree angle, so I'm going to add that together. And then the third angle is 65. So when I add the 90, the like terms together, I get 115. I subtract 115 from both sides. Turn around, backtrack. I know that's a common number inside this answer, but it is not 115, it's actually 155. So when I subtract 155, I get 25, right? But the thing is, I get 5x is equal to 25. Well, that's what I'm looking for. I don't have to find x. I'm looking for 5x. Angle A. Angle A. Right? How you like that? Alright, last question. Which situation can be represented by the inequality 15 plus 6x is less than or equal to 100? So let's go through each individual one. Well, this says 15 plus. So we got a 15 plus 6 per person. 6 per person. And Andrea has a maximum of $100. So she can't go over $100. Well, lo and behold, that is the answer so far. Let's see what B does. That was A. Let's see what B does. We got 6 plus 15 per person. Well, that doesn't match up with our inequality here, so that can't be the correct answer. We look at C. We have 15. That's a good start. Plus 6 per person. That's a good start. But here's where we find out the difference. The minimum is $100, so I can go over 100. So that means I can be greater than 100. So that is not the same inequality as the one here. And then D, it says laser zone charges 6 plus. Well, we know B wasn't right because it had a 6 to start with. So we're going to take the D out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please use this with your children as often as possible for our test on Wednesday, our final exam, and getting close to start.